What is going on? Welcome to another TubeBuddy live stream. My name is Nick Nimmin, and today we are going to talk about 10 things that YouTubers need to focus on. And look, if you normally watch any of my content and you watch the content here on the TubeBuddy channel, what I'm getting ready to go over with you today is stuff that we might touch on from time to time, but it's not stuff that we really talk about a lot, but all of it is stuff that is critical to you getting all the stuff that you want out of YouTube and making a success out of this whole entire thing. And the most important part is it doesn't matter if you have a how-to channel. It doesn't matter if you have a vlog. It doesn't matter if you have a beauty channel, a gaming channel. What I'm getting ready to share with you applies to every type of YouTube channel. So if you make content for the internet, you make content for YouTube, guess what? What I'm getting ready to share with you applies to you. Now, before we get into the actual information, I do want to let you know that at the end of what it is that we're getting ready to talk about, we're going to have a Q&A. So if you have a question that you want answered about, things that are going on YouTube, things that are going on in your particular channel or whatever, make sure that you put it in the form that is down in the description below this video so that we can make sure that we get to your question here, because they get answered in the order that we receive them. So make sure that you get your question down there right now. So the very first thing that I want to talk about here, and this is something that, all of us, we'll touch on this from time to time, but we don't really explore it a lot. And that is actually your mind state. So this one, a lot of people will talk about like burnout and things like that, but people don't often talk about like your stress levels and things like that, and about not getting caught up in YouTube drama. So the very first thing is actually your mind state, because here's the thing. If your brain and your mind and the way that you're viewing things, if you're not looking at it with like a success attitude in terms of like, I can do this, I can make this happen. If I don't know how to do it now, I'm going to figure it out. If I don't have a contact with this particular person that I'm trying to get in contact with, I'm going to figure out how to get in contact with that person so I can have that conversation. If I don't right now have the money or whatever it happens to be to go to like a conference, I'm going to figure out how I can save up that money and get that money together to go to a conference like Vid Summit or something like that. So the mindset is really important, because your mindset is going to determine if you are going to see it through or not. Right? Because when it comes down to motivation, which is a really big thing on YouTube in terms of people saying, hey, how do you stay motivated? How do you make content, all the time? Or how do you make content for years consistently? Well, part of that is knowing what it is that you want. But another part of that is making sure that your mind is in the right place. Because when you're doing anything for a long period of time, it can get kind of, right? So because of that, it's really important just to make sure that you're looking at things from the right perspective. And that perspective is that you can do it. You can figure it out, even if it's difficult, even if there's drama, even if there's changes that are being made. You can go through that. You can basically see the change that's being made, see how it applies to you, and instead of getting all caught up in it, you push through it, and then you try to find other ways to succeed, right? That's going to be a huge difference for a lot of content creators. The next thing is, what's up, Kathy Fit? The next thing is education. Now, I'm not talking about, like college education. I'm talking about educating yourself on the things that are required specifically for YouTube. So if you are a content creator and you're using gear and you don't know how to use your gear, then you are creating a disadvantage for yourself. And that's not what you want to do, right? You want to create those wins for yourself. So if you don't know how to use your gear, educate yourself. There's tons of videos on YouTube that you can watch on how to use your specific gear. You can Google it. You can read articles. Spend that time learning how to use your gear so that you can make the best product possible for the people that are viewing your content. Same exact thing goes with the tools. Like TubeBuddy as an example, TubeBuddy will help you grow and manage your channel. However, if you don't know how to use TubeBuddy, then it's not going to do a lot for you. So it's up to you, and this also goes in the mindset thing, it's up to you to make sure that you say, what? If I'm going to do this, I need to make sure that I understand how to use this tool. I need to make sure that I'm educating myself on how to look at my analytics. I need to make sure that I'm educating myself on all of the different stuff that you have to do for YouTube. I'm educating myself on design. I'm educating myself on, how to put videos together and all of that. It's super, super important. And if you don't do that, then what's going to happen is you might do okay, right? You might do well for a while, but then it's going to stagnate or you're going to start dropping because you'll basically fall out of the loop of what's current if you're not continually educating yourself on what's going on YouTube, what's going on with your equipment, or just what's going on in your industry or the specific type of content that you create as a whole. Now, just as a heads up, YouTube has a free resource for this. It's called the YouTube Creator Academy, and you can educate yourself on YouTube. And when they make the changes and all of that stuff, they basically build pages into the YouTube Creator Academy to explain the change that they made. So, with all the information that people want to know about click-through rate and impressions on YouTube, all that's in the YouTube Creator Academy. You just have to go in there and you just have to read the information. That's it. And in some cases, you don't even have to read the information because they have videos about it. So, educating yourself and making sure that you stay up on, what is actually happening on the platform, because this is the platform that you're trying to thrive on. It's really, really important that you stay up on that information. So first one, mind state. Second one, education. Third is the viewer experience. Now, it's not enough to upload. You want to think it through. You want to think, how can the people that are coming into your content find more of your content easier? You want to think, how are they experiencing your content? You don't want to just look at it from the standpoint of, here's my audience retention reports, and I need to figure out how I can, hack this particular thing together in order to keep people watching, longer and all that stuff. Absolutely, you want to keep people watching longer, but what you want to tune into above everything else is just the viewer experience. Are they getting the information or the entertainment or whatever type of content it is that you happen to offer? Are they getting that when they watch the video, when they click on the title, right? This is part of the viewer experience or the user experience on YouTube. When they click on your title and your thumbnail and they expect something from that, are you giving that to them? Are you giving it to them in a quick enough manner to actually pull them into your video and to actually deliver on what it is that you're promising? If you do, then that's going to help people keep coming back to your channel on a regular basis. That's going to increase the amount of people that are subscribing to your channel and so on. So think of, am I delivering on what I'm saying? And also think of, how are people experiencing the content that I'm actually putting out? You also want to think of, am I making it easy for people on YouTube that are on my channel and that are just browsing around YouTube in general to know that it's my content when they see it, to be able to easily identify what it is that I'm talking about in the video when they see it in my thumbnail and my title, to encourage them to actually click on it in the first place. But then once you have them in your video, just think of the viewer experience, right? Through the whole thing. And then towards the end of your video or wherever in your video, or even on the video watch page, make it easy for people to find more of your content, because the easier you make it for people, the more of your content people are going to watch. Make sure that you build playlists, right? Build playlists around certain groups of interests in what it is that you do, and make sure that you put those on your channel page, because you're making that viewer experience easier. You're making the user experience easier for people on YouTube. And if you do that for people and it's easier for them to consume your content, they will consume more of your content. So because of that, super, super important. Next, consistency. Now, this is a tough one. This is a really tough one, because you have depending on what it is that you're doing, you have, your job, maybe you've got your school, maybe you've got your family, maybe you've got your significant other, maybe you've got your kids, you've got other, hobbies and stuff that you do. But for the people that are really wanting to turn this into something, consistency is super, super important. It matters. The more consistent you are, this isn't just like an algorithmic thing, right? This is just a perception thing as well. So the more consistent that you are, the more top of mind you are going to be. And what I mean by that is, when you are consistently putting out content on YouTube or Facebook or all over social media as a whole, then what happens is you become top of mind. And what that means is that when people are talking about your specific genre of content, you will be one of the first people they think of. When they are making tweets with people, you are going to be one of the first people that get included in that tweet, because they are thinking about you, because you are at the top of mind, because you are consistently having those touch points with the people that are consuming your content, right? So because of that, super important to be consistent. And in addition to being top of mind, another thing is that it helps you on YouTube as a whole, because when people are watching your videos and they watch your videos recently, then it helps YouTube know who to suggest your content to, in terms of the people that are watching your content. They're having a good viewer experience. Since they're having a good viewer experience, they're probably going to engage in your content, or at least watch it for a longer period of time. And they've watched it recently. And since you're putting out content consistently, YouTube is more likely to show your videos to them more, which then in turn keeps them coming back to your videos more, which then basically keeps fulfilling that loop of keeping you at the top of everyone's mind. And that's a really, really powerful thing, being the top of mind. Next one, monetization. All right, I'm talking about the big elephant in the room, right? Monetization. I know a lot of people don't like talking about it. A lot of people are, like, oh, well, if you are making money from your YouTube channel, you're doing something wrong. Totally disagree with that. Because if you are wanting to do something with your YouTube channel to the point to where, you're going to go full time on YouTube, or you're going to create YouTube as your channel as like a side hustle, or you're going to do something to where you just want to maintain it for a long period of time, it costs money, right? So because of that, it's really important to make sure that you are thinking of monetization, different ways that you can make money from what it is that you are doing for the specific type of content that you make. And with this also comes down into point 2, which was education, right? Like if you are thinking of different ways that you can make money from the type of content that you have, that's going to send you on like a whole other journey of information that you're going to be able to put together, or that you're going to be able to consume, which is going to give you insights into different ways that you can make money with the specific type of content that you are making, because there isn't like a one size fits all in this situation, right? But if you are wanting to do this as like a sustainable thing and you're wanting to do it for a long period of time, then in that particular situation, it's really important because, I mentioned Vid Summit earlier in this, like if you're going to, if you're wanting to go to things like Vid Summit or VidCon or any of the other, conferences, or even fly to another state to network or collaborate with another content creator that you like. And okay, let's say this happens, right? For the people that are like, oh, well, it's not right to make money. So let's say that you are in a position to where you are uploading content and things are going well, right? People are digging your stuff. And let's say that you have that person reach out to you to where in your mind, you're like, man, if this one creator just reached out to me and offered me like a collaboration, that would be like the coolest thing in the world, right? And since you weren't thinking of monetization on your channel, this creator reaches out to you, this person that, that you're inspired by or whatever, they reach out to you and they're like, hey, you live in this state. If you're in the States or whatever, or even another country, whatever, you live in this state, I live in this state. It's going to cost you like a few $100 to get here by plane. But if you want to come, I'm actually working on a project I think you would be a great fit for if you want to come and be in my video. Right? If you don't have your monetization together, then in that particular case, you're going to have to tap into additional money, or depending on what your financial situation is, you might have to borrow the money in order to go do that. But if you are thinking about monetization, you can build that surplus up to where in the event, a conference comes up or a big opportunity comes up, then you can take advantage of that opportunity and you can go do it. And you can go make that video with that creator. You can go to that conference. You can buy that new camera if your camera goes down, right? If you don't prepare for that, then when your camera overheats or there's a power surge or whatever happens, or you just drop it on the ground by accident, then you're going to be out of making content until you can come up with an extra, $1,000, $1,500, whatever it happens to be, to basically replenish your camera. So monetization is extremely important and something that every content creator needs to consider. Now, another thing that's really important, again, is networking with other creators. And I don't mean just on the collaboration side, like that's cool too. But I think that on the networking side, like it's really understated the value of networking when it comes to anything. But YouTube is just as important. Like when you are networking with people on YouTube and you are creating all of these friendships through all of these different types of content on YouTube, something really cool starts to happen. Basically, when you are in the situation to where, you start, trying to help out other people on the platform, right? And other people are, they're doing well, or you're doing well, or let's say everybody else is doing well, but you're trying to come up and you're just, kind of still working through it. Well, what can happen in that situation if you are networking on a regular basis and you are trying to connect and talk to other YouTubers on a regular basis? What can happen is you don't know where somebody's going to be able to offer you a job. Right? You don't know where somebody's going to be able to send you a brand deal, right? I've had that happen to where people will send me an email, people that I know, they'll be like, hey, Nick, man, this isn't a great fit for me right now, but this would be a great fit for you, for your channel. If if you'd be interested in this, let me know. And then I'll connect you with that particular company. So, just networking can be really powerful. Another thing is they can send people to your channel. You can send people to their channels through collaborations and just through other means. You have those people that you can reach out to where you can say, hey, right now I'm trying to bring attention to this particular piece of content? Would there be any way that you could share this in your community feed? I'd really appreciate it, right? If you have that network in place, then you can share whatever it happens to be across, a few different channels in their community feeds to help push traffic to whatever it is that you're trying to bring attention to. And it works that way in reverse too, right? So networking can be really, 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 really powerful. In that regard, it's also powerful in terms of being able to see what normal is. So I don't know if you remember, but just a few weeks ago, it might not even have been that long, there was a situation to where YouTube took away a lot of views, or they didn't take away a lot of views. It just wasn't reporting the views that were coming in. So people on the internet like, oh gosh, what's going on? YouTube took my views away, and they're saying all this stuff. But at the end of the day, if you have just a small network of people, you can just send out a couple of Facebook messages or emails and say, hey, I just noticed I got a huge hit in my real-time view count. Are you seeing the same thing by any chance? Right? And then you get that instant feedback to where it's like, oh yeah, I actually saw that, this morning or just a few minutes ago, or, oh crap, I didn't even know that was happening. Let me check mine. Oh yes, it happened to me too. I wonder what's going on. Right? So it just gives you the other people that are doing something similar to what it is that you're doing, that you can basically share things with in terms of information, opportunities, and all of that stuff, which is really awesome. Another thing that's really important when it comes to, let's go ahead and just lose this dude. Let me see here. Okay, so another thing that's really important is like you're working on your presentation voiceover / your communication skills. So if you're really good at delivering content with whatever type of content it is that you make, if you're good at delivering the content, then you can actually, your videos can kind of like, I'm not saying they can be bad because they can't. But if you're really good at delivering content, it gives you a little bit more leeway than people that don't know how to deliver content. So because of that, it's really important to make sure that you are trying to work on how you present the information or the type of content that you share in terms of how you actually say what it is that you say, how you show whatever it is that you show, how you make things clear or not clear in terms of making it easy for people to understand what it is that you are talking about. Like all of those things are super important, because if your presentation skills are together, then in that particular case, it's going to take you a long way versus saying like, you know what, it's good enough. I don't, it'll be fine. I'm just going to, do whatever. Like if you can get your voiceover skills together, you can get your presentation skills together and just your communication skills together for when you are making videos, doing live streams, doing voiceovers, any of that stuff, it's going to be massively advantageous to you. And in terms of networking, which was the one before this, like one really cool thing about that as well is like when you get really good at what it is that you do, then people are going to be reaching out to you. Like you don't even have to do a lot of the reaching out. People will reach out to you because they'll respect what it is that you're doing. And you don't have to be a big channel for this to happen. You can have 100 subscribers, but if people look at your channel and they're like, wow, this person's like, they're doing it, then that opens tons of doors. I've actually had situations because on my particular type of content that I make, I have a lot of people reaching out for help. So I'll get tweets, I'll get emails, I'll have people leaving comments, all that stuff where people are like, hey, take a look at my channel. And I had somebody hit me up on Facebook, and their approach was okay. The approach was, hey, I like your content, so on and so forth. I'm a new content creator, just wanted to say that I like your stuff. I'm like, hey, cool, thanks. What's your channel? So they sent me their channel. Typically in that situation, because it's people that are just starting out, typically in that situation, somebody will send me their channel and I'll just go back and be like, hey, you got a lot of work to do. Here's a link to the Creator Academy. Go make sure that you go through that and so on and so forth. But this particular person that I'm referencing right now, they had less than 100 subscribers and they showed me their channel. And because I could see that they had put in all of this effort into presenting, or learning how to present, into learning how to write good titles, into learning how to make good thumbnails, into learning how to put the content together and make everything look good and all that stuff, I was like, wow, really good stuff, man. You're off to a fantastic start. Here's some things that you can do to make everything go faster. And then basically just gave him a rundown on exactly what it was that I was seeing on his channel, places he could improve and things like that. And that's stuff that people pay for. But because he was putting in that effort, he got all of that information and that extra time for free, just because he was putting in that particular effort. And that door is also open with that person to where I said, hey, while you're working on this process, if you have any questions that come up, I can't like answer like every question you have, especially if it's on YouTube. But if you have anything that, comes up in this process that you just can't figure out, shoot me a message and, and I'll help you out, because I can clearly see that you are, you're trying to do this stuff and you're going through the process of learning how to do it instead of just asking for people to do it for you or show you how to do it. Also, that leads me to the next one. Yes, I'm live, Chong Lee. Ty-tastic, what's up, man? Nice to see you. I'm in Chiang Mai. Nice to see you there. So also not looking for shortcuts. So a lot of people will come onto YouTube and they'll see other channels growing quickly. And because they see these other channels growing quickly, then they'll be like, oh my gosh, why am I not growing quickly? There must be a button that they're pressing that I'm not pressing, and I need to find that button. So instead of focusing on improving, instead of focusing on networking, instead of focusing on, educating themselves on how to do everything better, they're spending all of this time, wasting all of this time looking for that one thing that they can do that's going to all of a sudden make everything pop, right? In some cases, there is that one thing that you're kind of missing, but in most all cases, there is not just one thing. It's a series of things. It's all of the things, and you have to do all of the things. So because of that, when you're looking for that shortcut, what happens is you're looking for all of these little things that you can do. Hey, I'm gonna sit here, and I actually had a dinner with a friend of mine tonight. Awesome guy. And he makes really, really good content. But one of the things that he mentioned to me, because he's like relatively new to YouTube, one of the things he mentioned, he's like, yeah, we'll actually watch the video on like a handful of different accounts so that we can get some initial watch time in there. And I'm like, dude, you're wasting your time. I was like, just focus on making good content, because that's not going to help you. Like just watching it, from watching it from different devices, just so you can get that watch time. Like that's not like the amount that you can do. That is so little that all you're doing in that situation is you're wasting your time, right? It's not actually giving you a real benefit of any kind. So if you're trying to do shortcuts like that, you're going to end up just wasting tons of time on stuff that doesn't work. What works is consistently uploading content, adding value to the people that watch your videos, learning how to write good titles, learning how to design, learning how to put videos together, learning how to use your stats so that you can easily identify what's working and what's not working with the people that YouTube is showing your content to. There are not shortcuts to doing any of this stuff. There's definitely things you can do to improve, things that you can do to accelerate things and all of that, if you have everything put together first, right? And if you have everything put together first, you're already to a point where you're not trying to shortcut things. Another thing is the personal responsibility side. So this one's really big on YouTube because, anytime YouTube does something or anytime something happens to a YouTube channel, people start freaking out and they're like, hey, why is YouTube doing this to me? In some cases, like in terms of, like the FTC stuff and the COPA and all of that, of course, there are situations where YouTube does stuff, but even in that situation, like YouTube is always going to be changing. So the only option that you have on a platform that you don't have control over in terms of the executive decisions, the only choice that you have is to figure out other things that you can do to improve or work around whatever it is that they happen to change, right? So if they change, this particular thing over here, then what you have to do is say, okay, well, this is what they changed. Then what I need to do is I need to figure out how to work around that, right? And it's up to you. Like the results that you get on YouTube are completely up to you. Like people will say, hey, how come this person, puts out a video every 2 weeks and they do great, where I'm putting out videos 3 or 4 times a week and I'm not? It comes down to how people are responding to their videos, right? It comes down to how good that person is, or not even how good, but how much they understand what it is that they're doing for that person that's putting out videos, every 2 weeks compared to that person that's putting out 4 videos a week, not getting the results of that channel that's putting them out every 2 weeks, right? So it's really important that you just say, okay, when all of this, when anything's happening on my channel, it means that that means I have things to learn. It means that I have places to improve, and we all always have places to improve, but it means I have things to learn. I have things that I need to improve upon, and I need to keep going. because, you know, in a lot of cases, you know, that's the thing also. You might just need to keep going. As a matter of fact, and I didn't plan this, but I'm going to go ahead and just say, pull it up here anyway. So Brian G. Johnson made a video inside of his Facebook group, and he was talking about, and I hope I can find this quickly, but he was talking about expectations, I think, on YouTube. And Phil from TubeBuddy, here it is. Phil from TubeBuddy dropped this comment on there, and he basically backed up what Brian was saying with statistical information. So this is something that's really important for you to know if you are like, you know, hey, how come, you know, I don't have like a gajillion subscribers yet, right? So basically Phil said that they have 3.5 million channel records in the TubeBuddy database. The average channel with 1,000 to 10,000 subscribers has 152 uploads. The average channel with 10,000 to 100,000 subscribers has 418 uploads, right? So if you're thinking of it like, hey, you know, I've got like 100 videos out there, why am I not like blowing up? This is why, right? You gotta make more content. Another one is the average channel with 100,000 to 1 million has 1,171 uploads. The average, and again, these are averages. The average channel with 1 million plus subscribers has 3,873 uploads. That's incredible when you think about it. And when you start having those moments to where you're like discouraged, this goes back to the mindset, right? That we did within number one. When you start feeling discouraged and you're like, man, you know, I'm putting in all this work. Why isn't this working? I've made like 100 videos. What's going on? You just haven't made enough videos. You got to make more videos, and you got to make more videos that people respond to, and you got to do it over and over again. You got to be consistently putting out content over and over and over again that people respond to, consistently try to improve, and just keep doing what it is that you're doing, because it might not be that you're doing something wrong. It might simply be that you just have a lot more videos that you need to make in order to get what it is that you are after. Really important thing to understand. Another thing that I think is really important for content creators, and you're going to love this one. Another thing that I think is really important for content creators is celebrating your successes, right? This stuff is hard. It is hard work. There's so much energy and so much time and effort and sacrifice that goes into all of this, that goes into putting out this content week after week, or a few times a week, or over and over again for months or years at a time. So when you have a success, celebrate it. Don't think like, oh man, it's 1,000 subscribers. I know everybody shares these milestones. I shouldn't do it. Share them, right? Share the milestones. Be proud of what you did. Be happy with what you've accomplished, right? If you have your first video where people watched, you know, 40% of it instead of 20%, go in the mirror and high five yourself, right? Be like, yes, we are on the right path, right? If you have a video that has way more comments than all of the other videos, high five yourself. Yes. You know, we're doing something right because we're heading in the right direction. This particular thing has increased. Depending on what it is that you're trying to accomplish on your channel. If you get your very first affiliate sale, dance, just stand up from your computer or from your phone if you get the notification on your phone, and dance wherever it is that you happen to be standing, because you earned it. You worked for it. You know what I mean? When you are crossing any type of milestone whatsoever, you get your first brand deal, you get your first collaboration, or your 10th collaboration, or the collaboration with that person that you've been, you know, hoping to make a video with, any of that stuff, celebrate it. Because it happened because of you. You didn't get lucky. You didn't just run into it. You didn't just accidentally, you know, get the result that you got. You put in the work. You uploaded videos. You did the things that made that particular thing happen. So own that, celebrate it, and be happy that you celebrated it. But at the end of the day, all this stuff is up to you. So if you're losing and things aren't going the way that you want right now, hang in there. Because again, it just means that you have stuff that you need to learn still. You have more stuff that you need to apply, or you just need to upload more videos. If you are, you know, cruising along and, you know, things are going the way that you're going, then celebrate it, right? Celebrate it because you are doing that thing that you want to do. Things are working out. People are responding. Celebrate it. Don't be shy about it. Okay. So those are the 10 things. And real quick, I'm going to run through them, and then we're going to get into the Q&A. So I want to know your questions. Put them in the form right now. We have a form down in the description. I'm going to answer your questions from that form. So the mind state, just to recap here, the mind state. If you stress about YouTube, you get caught up in all the drama and all that stuff, it can demotivate you. And it can keep you from moving forward. It can frustrate you. It can make this whole thing way more stressful than it needs to be. And it can keep you from moving forward and keep you from what it is that you're trying to accomplish on YouTube. So your mind state is super important. Protect it at all costs. If you're hanging out with people that are like negative at all the time, limit. the amount of time that you're spending with them. Limit the amount of interactions that you're having if you're hanging out with people that are negative all the time. And like, if you have that one creator friend that's like, hey, everything I do sucks, I'm not getting results, the only people that get results on YouTube are lucky, distance yourself, because they can cost you what it is that you're trying to do if they penetrate your mind, so to speak, with the garbage that they're trying to spread. Education is the second one. Got to continually educate yourself. Viewer experience, super important. You got to keep the user experience in mind. Consistency, monetization, networking, presentation, not looking for shortcuts, personal responsibilities, and celebrating success are all super duper important. So make sure that you do those things and you will be fine on YouTube. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to get into the Q&A portion of the live stream. But before I do, I just want to say what's up to content creation for introverts. Also agreeing, saying that it can be an emotional roller coaster. Absolutely it can. Jose Rubio saying anyone can recap averages uploads for 100,000 subscribers. Absolutely, my man. Just because you asked before I get into the thing, I'll do that for you right now, actually. For 100,000, it was the average channel with 10,000 to 100,000. I know that's a big span, is 418 uploads. The average channel with 100,000 to a million is 1,171 uploads. So 1 to 10,000 is 152 uploads. So if you got like 500 subscribers right now and you're like stressed out and you've got like, 50 videos, keep going, hang in there, right? You just got more content to make. And the reason that I think that it happens that way in terms of like the volume and the results that you get. And of course there's anomalies. There's people that, that will come into it and they'll do things faster than other people. That's going to happen anywhere with anything. But, when you have information like that, you can think to yourself like, hey, if I'm at this particular point, then as I'm in the process of making all of this content to make 100 videos, 152 videos, whatever it happens to be, I'm going to learn so much as long as I'm paying attention, as long as I'm looking to try to figure out like, hey, what's happening on my channel? How are people responding to this? How can I do it better? When I make topics about this, people respond to it. When I make topics about this, they don't respond to it, right? Like as you start, like, this is how my videos get better, right? You start making that content and maybe your video quality isn't great. Maybe your audio isn't great. But then as you progress through a bunch more videos, then you're going to fine tune it over time. Hey, now I know how to process audio to make my audio sound good. Now I know how to color correct my footage to make my footage look good. Now I know how to use my camera a little bit better. Now I know how to light stuff a little bit better. Now I've made some money from my AdSense or from other ways that I chose to monetize, and I can get a new camera to help me make things look better, right? Like you learn through that process of making all that content, you learn so much. So if you're like stressed out about, hey, things aren't going the way that I want yet, just hang in there. Just keep making videos and just keep grinding it out, because there's so much to learn with this stuff. And the best way that you can do it is going through the process of actually creating and generating the stuff that you're after when it comes to creating content here. Daniel Patel in the house. What's up, my man? We just published a video, collaboration video over on my channel. So when this stream is over, don't do it now. When the stream is over, make sure you head over and watch that video because it's awesome. Okay. So the very first question that we have, and I'm going to refresh the page here to make sure that I got the current version. And we don't have a lot of questions in here. So if you have a question, make sure you drop it in the forum because there's not a lot of questions in here yet. So this is from Shamil Mahed, says how to make video views increase. Do the things that I just talked about, right? You gotta, in order to get your video views to increase, you gotta make content that people are looking for. You gotta make content that grabs people's attention. You gotta make content that people respond to all the way across the board. It's not just here, all you have to do is just put this in your title and then you're gonna start getting more views. It doesn't work that way, right? Even if, like, this is something that I just wanna talk about again really quick on things that you need to focus on. Like a lot of people will say, hey, if I optimize my metadata, and basically what that means, if you're not familiar with the terminology, like if I put keywords or if I put phrases that people are looking for in YouTube into my title, my description, and my tags, then I'm going to get views. It doesn't work that way. The only way that that's going to work for you is if people respond to your actual content itself. If they respond to your thumbnail, if they respond to the specific title that you made that gets them to your video, and then once they're on their video, they actually watch your video for a while, right? Like that's like, you can have the most clean metadata in the world, the most focused information in terms of telling YouTube what your video is about. But if the viewer, because remember in this list, I said you got to focus on the viewer experience, super important. If the viewer isn't responding to what it is that you're doing, guess what? YouTube isn't going to respond to what it is that you're doing, and YouTube isn't going to show it to people. So the best thing that you can possibly do is focus on that viewer experience, because if they respond, then YouTube is going to respond, and YouTube is going to start sending you views. Like Andrew says here, good SEO can only do so much. Video quality matters the most. And by quality, we don't mean necessarily how your camera looks. What we mean by that is quality in terms of how people respond to it, so they can send quality signals into YouTube that let YouTube know people are responding to this in a positive way, so that YouTube can identify that it is a quality video, so that YouTube can put it in front of more people. All right. So next question that we have here, I'll take another sip of coffee. Repping the TB cup. You should get one of these. It's in the TubeBuddy store, I believe. Got a little red inside there. Okay, so next up is from Praise of Games. Says, I have a question for Nick. Can you tell me if bad graphic quality videos is better than bad audio quality videos, or is it the other way around? And if so, why is my channel not getting recommended on YouTube's recommendations? Please tell me if I'm wrong about this, or that I'm right. Okay, so it's a package, right? Like, that's like me saying, okay, I got this phone, and some of the stuff in the phone is just incredible, and there's a bunch of stuff in this phone that just completely sucks, right? When you are thinking of purchasing this phone, you're going to say like, wow, it's got all this cool stuff, but you're also going to be like, well, you know what? Maybe I'm not actually going to get this because it has all of this other stuff that sucks. However, this phone right over here, which is going to be that other video that they have the option to watch, this other video over here, it's also animation, and it has good graphic quality, and it has good audio quality, and they're titling things and all that stuff in the right way. But we'll just say it's a phone, right? This phone has everything in it's good. So because of that, I'm actually going to get this phone over here instead of this phone, right? It's the same idea. Like, when there's so much content on YouTube that it's really important to make sure that you're covering all of the bases. Now, of course, you can only do what you can do in whatever moment that you're in right now, in terms of, you know, like if your video quality is okay, but your audio sucks, and you can't go out and get a new microphone right now, or you can't improve your audio quality in the moment, keep going. Keep putting out content until you can. However, as soon as you can, then improve your audio. The fact that you know that you need to improve, like you're ahead of the game, right? You're ahead of most people, because you're aware that, hey, this is bad. This is also, you know, could use improvement. And because of that, that tells me that you are aware that, hey, I got some things to improve. So now the next step is just, when you get the opportunity to improve those things, then go ahead and improve those things. But when it comes to what you're seeing versus what you're hearing, what you're seeing is really important, but audio is also half of the video experience. So people are typically more tolerant if the audio or the video quality isn't as good, but the audio is great, than if the audio sucks. So if the audio sucks, then people will typically tune out, because nobody wants to listen to something where it sounds like this and you can't really even figure out, you know, what the person's saying, and I'm not even sure how that sounds. But just to give a reference on, you know, the how it goes. Like, even if my video quality was great, if you can't hear really what I'm saying, then it's not going to do anybody much good. Next question that we have here in the forum, if you are just joining us and you have not subscribed to TubeBuddy channel yet, and you want to learn more about YouTube and how to do all this stuff, make sure that you smash the subscribe button. And also, we are pulling these questions from the forum that is down in the description below. So if you have a question that you want answered, and I apologize for pointing, make sure that you leave that question down in the comments below. Okay, so this next question is from Samson Speaking. Says, if I'm setting up a new channel for a business venture, should I set up a separate YouTube account with a business email, or add it as a brand channel using my personal email? Set up everything as its separate entity. So what you want to do in that situation is, if it's for your business, connect everything. Start a new Gmail account, do everything from scratch as that business, so that it's all self-contained. Because over time, you're going to start getting emails to that account, and you're going to, you know, have some interactions with YouTube and all that stuff. All of that needs to be going into that account. That is your business account. So because of that, set up everything as its own unit, instead of mixing the two. Unit. All right. So let's see here. Magic Prepper says, I use text in my thumbnails as they seem to do better than those without it. Should the text match your title, or is it an opportunity to basically have two titles, and does the algorithm pick up on text in a thumbnail? Absolutely, it picks up on text in a thumbnail. There's actually something that you might want to look into called Google Cloud Vision. With Google Cloud Vision, it actually shows you like what Google's interpretation is of what's actually happening in your video or in your thumbnail. They apply this to videos too, but it's what's happening in your thumbnail, and you can actually load your thumbnails into it, and it'll show you like if they think that it's racy, or if they think that it's inappropriate, or if they think that it's safe. They'll show you like the text that you have in your thumbnails. They'll actually tell you what that text says. It's really incredible. So it's called Google Cloud Vision. So make sure that you can just Google it, and you'll be able to run your thumbnails through that to give you the answer that you're looking for. But in terms of if it should match your title, I recommend that you try to think of them as a package, right? So sometimes, depending on the type of content that you're putting out, you'll just want to let people know, hey, this is what the video is about. In other cases, then you're going to want to tease what's happening in the title, because, you know, you'll want to have something to where, like I did in my last video, to where you're saying, you know, like, hey, you know, this will help you do X, Y, Z, but then you have to go to the title or click the video to figure out what it is that, you know, is actually going on. So I basically build that pain point in there. I'm like, you know, doing this will grow your channel, or whatever the thumbnail is, help you grow faster, I think it is. And then you actually have to look at the title that says, you know, get more views by X, Y, Z. So, and then click into the video itself to actually get that information. So just think of your audience, think of your content, and think of what makes the most sense. And of course, TubeBuddy has the A/B testing feature, so you can actually test all of them against each other to figure out which, you know, brings the best results for you. Next up, we've got Turning Point Technical, how to purchase upgrade version in mobile. So for that one, I will let Andrew Can answer that one for you in the chat in terms of how to upgrade on your mobile phone to get the higher tier version of TubeBuddy. And you will be glad that you did. Okay, next up on the list, we have Matt Hayes. What's up, Matt, man? Nice to see you with a comment here saying, nice surprise to see your face on a Wednesday. Thank you. I asked E this on Sunday, but was interested to hear your opinion too. I hit 200,000 views last Thursday. Whoop! Congratulations. See that whoop there? You're celebrating that success, man. I love it. What is your opinion on milestone videos, and should they be confined to subscriber milestones? Dee suggested a subscriber hangout stream. So in my personal opinion, I think that like a 200,000 view milestone, personally, I wouldn't make a video about that, but of course you can celebrate your successes in any way that you want. What I would do is I would actually just build that information into content, because when people are coming to your channel, they're not necessarily like, it might be their first time ever being exposed to you. And you don't want to waste that opportunity on a video that's like, you know, hey, you know, thanks for, 200,000 views, you know, it's awesome. You know, this is, you know, something really cool to think that 200,000 people viewed my videos, because that's a ton of people that actually, you know, that's more people than would fit in a football stadium that have seen my content. And it's just an amazing thing. Like, people aren't tuning in for that. They're tuning in for the content that you offer. So if you can mix that into your content in some way. So for example, let's say that you're starting your video out and you're talking about whatever thing it is that you're talking about, then you can say, hey, and real quick, you know, I just want to let you know I crossed this milestone. Thank you so much for all of you that helped me do that. Now let's get into the video, right? You don't have to make a huge ordeal about it, but you can share that with your viewers. Now, when it comes to like bigger milestones, of course, bigger is going to be interpreted differently by everybody. But, you know, when it comes to bigger milestones, if you have value to add by sharing that milestone, then in that particular case, go ahead and make a video. But if there's no real value to add that makes sense for the people that are watching your videos, then I wouldn't do it. So for example, like on my channel, I have milestones, I think, for like 20,000, 50,000, I think 100,000, and maybe even 10. But through my particular type of content, I can do that because what I do, and it applies to you who are the people that watch my videos, when I make one of those videos, I say, okay, so I just crossed 10,000 subscribers. This is how I did it, because I know you're going to be going through the same process. I crossed 20, I crossed 50, I crossed 100, and so on. And I can do that because I know that I can share information within that content that is going to help you as well. So by me sharing my milestones, that's one of those situations where I can basically make that content around how to get 20,000 subscribers, how to get 100,000 subscribers, and it makes sense for the people that watch my videos. Whereas if you were making, Minecraft videos, then it would be more appropriate to just make your video about Minecraft and then mention that you had 100,000 subscribers, talk to them about it and so on in that actual Minecraft video, just as a quick blurb. Hey, thank you so much. I got this, this milestone of 10,000 subscribers. It's incredible. Thank you so much. I couldn't have been able to do it without you guys. Now let's get into the actual video itself. Now, in terms of the subscriber hangout, I do think that that's a cool idea also, because then with that live stream, then it'll be the people that care that will actually come in and hang out in the live stream. So I do think that that's a decent idea as well, but I would make that live stream unlisted after the video or after the live stream is complete. So basically you would say, hey, I crossed, 10,000 subscribers. So I'm going to have the subscriber hangout. And after the subscriber hangout, then just make sure that you unlist the video. That's my personal opinion on that. Next up. Okay, Ryan A. Raymond says, how do you gauge the active audience size for a specific keyword? It's looking at videos uploaded in the last 30 days. Is looking at videos uploaded in the last 30 days. View total is a good way to estimate. So no, that's not a good way to estimate. And the reason it's not a good way to estimate is if you look at videos uploaded in the last 30 days and you're looking at their total views, you don't know what's going on with their channel. So let's say, for example, I made a video about the Apple stylus pen, right? On my channel. If I made that particular video on my channel or on a brand new channel, let's say I did it on a brand new channel. And since I made this video on a brand new channel and I just did a little review. Hey, I love this Apple stylus pen. It's great, whatever, ding. Then in that situation, I share that in my community feed. If looking at it from the outside on that brand new channel, you would have no way of knowing that I shared that in my community feed on my bigger channel, right? You would have no idea that TubeBuddy also shared it and that Daniel Patel also shared it and Brian G. Johnson shared it. And my brother D. Nimmin shared it. And, Roberto shared it and Tim, like you would have no idea of all of these people that shared my video about this. You would look at it and you would say, wow, this video did great. And this person's got 50 subscribers. I need to make this video, but you don't know what happened on the outside. So because of that, TubeBuddy has something called the Keyword Explorer, and in there they show you an estimate of search volume, so you can use that. You can also use tools, which is no longer free, so I recommend actually doing it in TubeBuddy, which I did anyway, but there was another one called Keywords Everywhere, but Keywords Everywhere as of the 1st of October is now a paid tool, so just go ahead and get TubeBuddy. Don't even worry about Keyword Explorer. Next. And real quick, I do want to let you know that if you are enjoying this stream so far, if you're learning anything, if you're just having a good time, whatever, make sure that you give this stream a thumbs up just so that we know that we're on the right path, so that we know that we're doing the right thing here on the TubeBuddy channel. Okay, next up, we've got the Whisky Dictionary. What is up, dude? Nice to see you in here. Okay, so Whisky Dictionary says, do you think having your face in the thumbnails is still super important? It seems like it's oversaturated, and personally, I associate it with lower quality videos, except yours, of course, is what he says. So when it comes to this is one of the situations where you need to test. So typically, right, and studies have been done, and we've all done these as well, to where, you find that typically faces work better, right? However, the particular type of content that you're making, and this is where testing comes in so important. The particular type of content that you're making, having your face in all your thumbnails might not make any sense. Like in your case, right? Because you are the Whisky Dictionary. So in your particular case, the people that are looking for that type of content might not necessarily be wanting to see a person at all. They're just wanting to be able to identify that there's something about whiskey in the thumbnail. And for that, you could run an A/B test with TubeBuddy on a handful of videos against one with your face in it, and then another one with the with just whiskey focused stuff, and then you would be able to have that data in terms of what people respond to the most. So because of that, I really recommend that you just A/B test it to find out what works best for your audience, because in some cases, absolutely the face is the best move. In other cases, not so much. So it's really important that you test this stuff for your content. And this is another thing, in one of the 10 things that YouTubers need to focus on that I went over earlier, one of the things that I focused on was personal responsibility and saying that it's all up to you. Right? Me and everybody else that makes content like me, we give you information based on our experience with clients that we worked with, the experience that trusted people in our industry have shared as well. We also give you information on case studies that we've read or white papers that YouTube has put out and stuff like that. But What you need to do on the personal responsibility side is you need to take the information that we share, because we typically try to share best practice information that's good for most channels, but you need to take that information and you need to test it. Say, okay, this is what Nick is saying to do. This is what Nick is saying works. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to take this, I'm going to test it on my channel for the next 30 days, 60 days, 90 days, and I'm going to see, how that works out on my particular channel to make sure that this is right for my audience and for what it is that I'm doing, right? Now, when it comes to things like building watch time traps and sending people to more of your content so that YouTube can promote you more and all that, that's a blanket rule. Like, that works across the board. But when it comes to nuanced details of things like putting faces in your thumbnails or putting specific words in your titles and things like that, that's where you really need to test that kind of stuff for yourself so that you can make sure that the stuff that we tell you works for your specific type of content when you get into those nuances, right? When you get outside of the, the general best practice stuff. Super important. Dusty Porter in the house. What is up, man? Dan Courier also in the house. What is up? Nice to see you here today. Doug Hoosen. What is up, my man? Neil, the Urban Explorer. Nice to see you here in the chat today as well. Next question is from James86. Is it better or worse to have two channels? That's up. That's totally your call. It depends on what you're trying to do. Like some people have, 9 channels. Some people have 1 channel. Some people have 3 channels. It just depends on what you're doing, how you structure things. Like, if you are, looking at this as a scaled type of thing and you are not necessarily making all the content, then you can have a bunch of channels. If you're looking at this as a, hey, I'm going to be carrying the weight on all of these channels, I'm just a solo person working on all these channels, then you have to look at it in terms of how much time do you have, how much time can you dedicate, how much time is working on one channel going to take, how much time is working on one channel going to take away from another channel, and so on. Like, you have to make that call, because, I can't tell you that, hey, yeah, you should do this with your time. Like, you have to look at it and say, okay, well, what's the most important? Is it more important for me to have these 2 channels and cover these 2 things? Or is it more important for me to go all in on this one channel and put all my time and effort making content for this particular channel, interacting with my community for this channel, putting together strategy for this channel, putting together my content plan for this channel, and spending that extra time that I would be spending on that other one focused on this one? Or is it better for you to say, you know what? I'm going to actually put equal effort into both of these, and I'm going to see which one does better. And then I'm going to end up later focusing on that particular channel. And they might both do well, and then you're going to have the good problem of, how do I manage all this? Right? So, but the answer to that question, though, is completely up to you. John Paul Music UK says, how to start a conversation to collab with someone. Would I be out of my league if I'm trying to collab with someone with way more subscribers than me? So when it comes to collaborations, it comes down to value. It comes down to your approach. Your approach is so important. It comes down to relationships as well. One of the things that I talked about in this 10 things that YouTubers need to focus on is networking. And the reason for that is also collaborations and other people being able to introduce you to other people that can introduce you to other people and things like that. So in terms of the proper way to reach out, the best thing that you can possibly do when you're reaching out for collaborations is to write an individual email, just a one-off email to each person that you're trying to collaborate with. Tell them exactly what your intentions are with the collaboration. So instead of sending an email that says, hey, do you want to collab? And then they are going to have to read that on their end, go through the process of saying, yeah, sure, what's your idea? And then you're going to have to reply with, well, I'm not really sure. I think maybe we could do this. What are your thoughts? And then they have to reply with, oh, well, I'm not really sure, blah, blah, blah. And so what you're doing is you're just creating a lot of work on both sides. But if you approach somebody and you're like, hey, I have this great idea. I think you would be a really good fit for this piece of content that I'm working on. Basically, here's what I plan to do with this video, and I think that you would be a good fit. Basically, we start the video like this. I do this, you would do this, so on and so forth. And you start working it out that way, and you approach them with a plan instead of just approaching them with just a generalized, would you like to collab or would you make a video with me? Because here's the thing. If that larger channel has, they do. They have subscribers already. But if they're a larger channel, they already know that people are wanting to collaborate with them. They already know that people are wanting to collaborate with them in hopes, in most cases, not all, but in hopes that they will get a boost of some kind on their channel, or that will bring more exposure to what it is that they're doing. Like the people that have, that traction already, they know that. So when you are approaching them, it's really important to make sure that you approach them with an idea. You approach them with details of what you have in mind, and you basically make it easy for them. You can even go as far as to say, hey, this is my plan. I've actually set up this, this Google Doc to where we can kind of brainstorm, we can kind of run back and forth on it. These are even some clips that I've already shot. If you want to, see an example of my video quality, right? I mean, technically what you're doing in that situation is you're putting together a proposal, right? You're putting together a proposal to collaborate with somebody that you want to collab with. And by doing that, it's going to help you stand out from all of the other people that are reaching out to them trying to collaborate. And with that said, I also want to tell you, when you do that and you do reach out, like, you would actually be surprised where you can get collaborations if you just put in the effort and you put in the attempt and you actually try it. Because, in a lot of cases, like when people are on YouTube and they're looking at it like, hey, I've got this bigger channel and I really want to do a collaboration with them. In some cases, people are looking at that bigger channel like the person is like a different person or a different kind of person. But in reality, like, everybody that's making videos, it doesn't matter if it's Casey Neistat, Peter McKinnon, or if it's that person that's starting out right now with 1 subscriber. Everybody that's putting out content on YouTube, or most people that are putting out content on YouTube, they're putting out content because they enjoy putting out content. They like making stuff. They like doing stuff and things like that. So when you look at some of these other channels and you look at them like, like they're this like different type of person or whatever, then what you're doing there is you're creating this like imaginary wall between you instead of just approaching them like the person like you that they are, right? So because of that, just approach them, with a plan and just say, this is what I have in mind. This is what I was thinking of doing, and just see if they're in for it or not. Okay, next question. All right, we're up to 205 people in here right now. Welcome to the live stream. If you are enjoying this stream right now, make sure you give it a thumbs up. I do want to let you know that we are answering questions about YouTube. So if you have your question that you have in the forum, that's awesome. If you do not have a question in the forum, stay tuned, because there's some really good questions in here, and there might be a question that's answered that you didn't even know that you had, or that you might have that somebody else has already put into the forum. So make sure that you stay tuned. Android 9 Hack says, hey, how do I get my videos recommended by YouTube and suggested to other YouTube users? This comes down to response. So if people are responding to your content, that means if people are clicking on your videos, or they're clicking on your thumbnails, they're clicking on your titles, that's one response. If they are watching your videos for an extended period of time, that's another response. If they're engaging in your content by leaving comments and thumbs up or thumbs down, that's another response. If they're sharing your content, that's another response. If they're adding it to playlists, that's another response, and so on. If they keep coming back to the channel, that's people responding to the channel as a whole, right? So what you want to do is you want to basically look at that chain, and you want to look for your weaknesses in that chain. If you are able to keep people watching, but you can't keep people clicking, then you need to work on that very front part of the chain, which is your title and your thumbnails, and keep working on that until you get it. If you're good at getting people to click, but they're just not watching your videos, you see that hockey stick effect when your video opens up if you go into your audience retention. If that's what's happening, then hey, I can get people to click. I got that down. Now I need to work on my audience retention. And when you're doing that, you also need to think, okay, well, within my audience retention, when I'm seeing that, is it because my content isn't good, or it's not, or is it because my content isn't delivering on the promise that I set up in my title and thumbnail? So where basically your thumbnail and your title are misleading people, or they're expecting something different, and then they hit the video and they're like, oh, wait a minute, this isn't what I thought it was going to be, and then they bail, right? And then once you get those together, then start working on your engagement. It's naturally going to happen, but if you want it to increase, then you start working on your engagement. Okay, where am I going to put my calls to action? Where am I going to tell in my video? Where am I going to tell people to subscribe? Is it better for me, for my audience, for the people that YouTube is showing my content to put that in the beginning? Is it better for me to put it at the end? Is it better for me to toss it in the middle somewhere? Is it better for me to not even say it at all, but to just have a graphic pop up from time to time reminding people to subscribe to my channel, just so that I can put that seed in their mind, just in case they're so into my content that they're not even thinking of subscribing. They're just thinking of watching my video and how awesome my video is. So I'm just going to give them that little nudge, that reminder to, remind them to subscribe to my channel, right? So even your comments, hey, what do I do to get more comments? Do I encourage people to leave a comment? Do I not encourage people to leave a comment? How do I actually encourage people to leave a comment? Do I tell them, hey, leave a comment below? Or do I say, hey, if you are, if you watch this entire stream, or you even watched a little part of this stream, make sure you leave a comment and let me know which part you enjoyed the most, right? And then that way, all they have to do is answer the question. They don't have to actually figure out what it is that they want to say, which requires extra energy on their part, which by default is going to cause less people to respond in terms of leaving comments on your stuff. Okay. Hard Knocks Television says, First of all, thank you for your help and advice. My pleasure. And I'll also speak on behalf of TubeBuddy and say their pleasure as well. And I also want to thank them for having me on the channel today. And I want to thank Andrew for moderating the chat right now and everything he's done. I hung out with him in Melbourne, Australia for a handful of days, and it was awesome. Dee and I were just talking, Andrew, by the way, just the other day, of just how much fun we had and how awesome it was hanging out with you there. But okay, it says, first off, thanks for the help and advice. It's interesting that you talk about mental health and how YouTube can affect this. I recently posted 3 videos on my channel about my experiences with mental health, which is one of the reasons for me not posting as much and kind of losing enthusiasm for a while, which may possibly be burnout. My ADHD or a combination of both. Anyway, so as not to alienate my viewers who want gaming content, and also, since I have a lot more to share about this subject, I've created a second channel for mental health topics. It's a subject I'm very passionate about. I'm currently working on my first batch of videos for this. I considered also doing a video mentioning burnout and the dangers of social media on your mental health. What do you think of this idea? And do you have any suggestions on what you would like to see related to this subject? I do think it's a cool idea. I think that it's something that a lot of people are dealing with. I think that it is something that a lot of people they need to run across information that lets them know that it's normal and that it's okay, and that they need to pace themselves, and they need to also kind of have that personal responsibility and own what's happening and all that good stuff. I think that, letting, just any piece of content out there, letting people know that somebody could possibly run into, I think it's solid. I would definitely separate it from your gaming channel though, with the exception of just making that one statement video just because you want to get it off your chest and you have an audience already. In that particular situation, I think you're okay. But if you're going to put out content like that on a regular basis, I would definitely put that on a completely different channel. All right, let's see here. So next up on the list here, let's see here. Body Illumination says, do you have email service recommendations to help with all the subscribers, etc.? By the way, thanks for the great chat. So if you mean email services in terms of like autoresponders and things that you can basically set up to where people can opt into it, and then you can basically let them know that basically you set up your own notification system essentially to where you can send out emails saying, hey, I just published this video, go check it out, and so on. In that particular case, Active Campaign is solid. Aweber's solid. MailChimp is solid, depending on what you're doing, because they're a little bit sensitive on the marketing side, or at least they used to be. I don't know if they still are. Those are 3 good ones to get you started. But you can just look for any autoresponder or anything like that. But Active Campaign is great because it'll actually let you like segment audiences based on the responses that they're taking, with each email and stuff like that. So if you had a video, what was your topic again? Body illumination. So like if you had one email that went out and it was basically about one branch of body illumination, and they clicked on that particular call to action, then it would basically segment them into a specific list that would lead them down another path, versus if you put out a different email and they clicked on that one instead, that was about a different segment of body illumination, then it would lead them down that path, for example. Pretty impressive stuff. Yeah, this is live. This is not recorded. Okay, next up, I'm going to answer one more here, and then just because I'm a fan of going over by just a minute, and then and then we are going to wrap it up. It says, hey, Nick, how many subscribers do you need to make it worthwhile to do a live Q&A and get enough viewers with enough questions that you don't just get crickets? So in that particular situation, it doesn't necessarily come down to the subscriber count as much as it comes down to people being into what it is that you're doing. So if you have 100 subscribers, there's a really good chance that if you're putting out content on a regular basis and you start seeing regular faces, basically just use this as your identifier. Keep track of who's leaving comments. Keep track of who you're interacting with in your comments. When you start to see a lot of familiar faces, it's time to go live. But if you are like, hey, I've never seen this person before for pretty much every comment you get, then from that particular situation, I would say, okay, I'm going to wait on this a little bit until I can start seeing some regular faces to know that I've at least got a handful of people that are into my stuff. And also keep in mind, you don't need a lot of people. If you go live and there's like 5 people in there, that's awesome, because that's 5 people that are given their time to hang out with you and listen to whatever it is that you have to say. And on that note, I do want to thank everybody that's been hanging out here in the live stream for hanging out in the live stream. I hope that you learned something today. I hope you learned just some good information here in terms of 10 things that YouTubers need to focus on. I hope that you you walk away with something good here. I am rooting for you. I hope that your channel does well. I hope that you excel at this stuff, because again, it is hard. And this is one of those things to where, as time passes, you're going to notice that there's people that fall off. There's people that keep going. There's people that excel. So, I'm rooting for you, and I hope that you are one of the people that excel here on YouTube. Again, thanks to TubeBuddy for letting me come onto the channel and hang out today. Thanks to Ike and to Andrew and to any other mods that have been in here for what it is that you guys do. It is much appreciated, and have a wonderful rest of your week, and I will see you next time.